know, #1 job sites in the world is one of our customers that we have started working with this year. It's been a long journey. I think the first conversation has happened almost a year ago. But yeah, we are finally there, and today our CEO Alex Kalinovsky and our tech lead Yegor Bondar will share some insights about lessons learned and success stories of studying the customers like Indeed. So please welcome.
Thank you, guys. It's great to see you as always. And I don't know how many of you already knew about Indeed. I suspect most, but if you did not, it is the or some of the facts you may not know about Indeed. It's the #1 job site in the world across all countries. It has more than 200 million unique monthly visitors and growing, so it's a clear market leader. And there's 8 petabyte size data warehouse, or basically the amount of data that they collect is huge. So it was obviously a very highly visible client that we were super excited to pitch to, right? And so about 2 weeks ago, no, was it a month ago, we came back, and I remember the story that I remember being there was the first day we get to Indeed. It was myself, Yegor, Dima Makivsky, our Ukrainian, another Ukrainian lead engineer, and from Marcel. This was the first global team, first of all, that we actually did at AgileEngine. So Marcel from Argentina came there. So the first day we get to Indeed, there is a meeting and we didn't even realize it was going to be that many people, but there was like 14 people probably in the room. And most of them we don't know. We would talk to maybe 1 or 2 of them in the past at a high level. So we're sitting at this giant table, and kind of everyone sort of like looks around like, okay, who says what, who goes first? So it was like, you know, that moment when you're like, something has to happen, like somebody has to do something in that meeting, and we want to leave a good impression. So, and then we started talking, so we'll go through kind of how we did there, but it was clear that there were some things that went great, and that there were some things that we also, in retrospect, like, I wish we did that better. And that's what we're here to share with you, is throughout the week, we were there for a week on site. There is a happy ending to that story, of course, which I'll share with you in a few minutes. But it was clear that we had to be there to impress, and also I had a chance to work with our guys side by side. Usually I'm sort of representing us all, right, in a sales role, but here this was an interesting mix of Ukrainian plus Argentina plus US, CEO, engineers, PMs, so very interesting thing. So we had 1 week, and in that 1 week we had to win over the hearts and minds of the #1 job site in the world. So I'm gonna walk you guys through what we, for visits like that, what are the ideas when you're starting out with a new client, whether it is remotely actually or on-site. This is gonna be mostly about on-site. Many of you, in fact, we're gonna be promoting that model more and more. When we kick off a new project, we're gonna be inviting and encouraging people to go and meet with a client on-site. So there is no substitute for human interaction. That's why I'm here, looking at you. It's awesome. It feels great. It feels a lot better when you're standing next to a person, sitting next to a person. And so, without further ado, how to make sure that that first initial impression that the future or existing client has of you, and how to leave them in a happy state. The first thing you want to do is you want to make sure you have a plan. So you don't just kind of land there in that giant meeting. You may find yourself like us in that big meeting with a bunch of people, VP level, senior people. They have 3,000 people in a company. A bunch of senior people showed up to look at us. So you have to understand that you're there to essentially deliver some sort of a show, something impressive, right? And you cannot do it without preparation. So it all starts in preparation, weeks in advance. Got to have a game plan, just like in football. And the game plan that we've had, okay, we knew you don't want to come empty-handed, right? You don't visit your family or without showing up at the door and having nothing. So we thought of bringing some gifts. Marcel brought these great Argentinian wine. Everybody likes Argentinian wine, so he shows up with 2 bottles. You know, you may think it's too much, but hey, everybody will take a free bottle of wine. So right there, we had a bit of a score. Definitely having an agenda. So again, you don't want to show up there or start a project and then start thinking, well, what do we need to talk about, or who am I going to be meeting? So all of that, the key is to pre-plan in advance, at least a couple of weeks ago in advance, maybe even a month. You start lining up people that you want to meet and learning who they are, what they do, so that by the time you're there, you have not only people, but you actually have calendar booked up with meetings. And then having an agenda for every meeting, like the basics, but actually it is very important. A lot of times, even I show up in the meeting and like there is no agenda. People get there and then they start figuring out what they want to talk about. Definitely for any meeting to be efficient, the agenda has to be prepared, sent in advance, and so that people can prepare mentally and then arrive straight to the action. But the very first thing that you do in a meeting is what? It's introduction. So for example, when I introduce myself, I would often say, hi, my name is Alex Kalinovsky. I'm the CEO and founder of AgileEngine. For instance, some of the interesting facts you may not know about myself is that I won national hackathon when I was 15. I got second place in Ukraine. True story, you can look it up. I started my first company when I was 17, and maybe I can do a handstand. I can hold it for 5 minutes, right? So say some interesting facts about yourself so it's not like a boring, hey, I'm Alex, I'm the CEO. Next. And in order for that to be smooth and sound well, you actually do need to rehearse it in advance. So you can read this and see that I didn't just come up with it on the spot, right? So I know how to introduce myself, and I highly recommend that you guys also kind of practice that, have a few introductions, and have some interesting facts that set you apart, make it interesting, and then as you do it naturally, you wouldn't even have to think about it, but it is something you're prepared. No substitute for a smile, right? So, I talk about it a lot, but definitely, again, you're sitting in a meeting, you're meeting people, be happy, at least appear to be happy, so smile, you're sitting in the audience, put some smile up. It's a good thing for everyone. Yegor is going to talk a little bit more about this, but another one, as we get more mature, as you guys know, we're winning awards. Some of our apps are featured by Facebook, let's say, as showcase implementation for React Native platform. We're ranked as Dev Shop #1 actually right now in Argentina, and like top 3 in Washington, D.C. So there's a lot of awards, and that's because you guys are great. It's because we have great talent in our company, and we know what we're doing, right? So this is actually it becomes more and more revealing to me is that we're not like clueless people. Hey, tell us what you do. How do you guys do this? No, you guys, when you come in, and don't be shy, don't be afraid, so to speak, but also just kind of take the initiative. So at Indeed, one of the reasons why we were chosen, AgileEngine, is because of our awards, and is because they wanted us to impress and provide the thought leadership. So they don't ask us how you want us to explain it to you, but you guys tell us. You're supposed to be the experts, right? You're so great. You tell us how you're going to do it. And it was very obvious the whole week that they expected us to do that. And me observing not only Indeed, but even other clients and potentials, when we take the thought leadership, we got it, right, guys? We know how to build software, we know how to deliver quality product. When we do that and we take that stance, then a lot of things become easier. And we actually do, it's better value that we provide to people. So short is, don't just ask questions, especially about stuff that you already know or are confident on, like should it be Scrum or Kanban, but come in prepared and have in your head already ideas about that, like how you will do it, and approach it from the angle is, this is our best practices that we have seen work, that's what we recommend to you guys, and give us feedback. You understand the difference? All right. And the last thing that's sort of also a generic thing for everyone that good speakers use and good presenters use, and you should always you should also, I think, try to master that one, is have stories. People learn a lot better through stories, hold people's attention. So the stories do need to involve you. There has to be some dramatic part to that story. Like the story that I usually tell is, for instance, I have several of these stories that over time I told many times, and I mean, it's clear to me. And for instance, some of you may have heard that, like I did work at Abu Dhabi, we were building e-government. I had to change my flight. Literally, I was on the way back to the US from a European trip with my girlfriend at the time, and I had to basically send her back to the US, and I changed my flight, one-way ticket to Abu Dhabi after September 11, you know, and it was like my first time to Middle East. I stayed in a 5-star resort, and it was just like this amazing experience that went from being great to being horrible, where they made us work for 30 days nonstop, like no weekends, and you know, all kinds of drama. But in the end, we actually did deliver a product, and there was a launch in a 7-star hotel with shake and some stars coming there. So really true, I mean, true story, interesting. I can make it short, I can make it long. The point is that you guys have to kind of prepare it in your head. Apply the same principles of dramatic. It's like Hollywood movie, right? Like there's a formula to Hollywood movie. The formula is, starts an underdog, simple guy, walks up, right? He's a simple guy in high school, and then he becomes better, better, better. He rises up, he becomes arrogant, then he crashes, and then everything is lost. His heart broken, but then he finds his inner strength, and then he becomes a better person, and friends come back to him, and happy ending. So do the same with the technical stuff. You have your project stories of how you've there was a challenge, you worked through it, you overcame it. So if somebody tells you, well, tell me about your experience in big data, they don't want to hear, I used Hadoop and I used Java Spring and we did a lot of data. You can do that, it's boring and it's not going to be memorable. You really want to make a difference, tell a story of your project, prepare it in advance with numbers, with impressive names, indeed, right? So in your career, there's something interesting and challenging that you've done that sets you apart. Have those stories prepared in advance so that when you're there, wherever you are, even at an interview, if somebody asks you a question, you can use that story to describe your experience. Of course, you're there to meet a lot of people, so it's all about the people. You're not just visiting on site or starting a project. Anytime you work actually with clients, even if you do it remotely, you want to meet people and you want people to remember you. So discover who else is involved, discover other groups, find people who truly care about what you're delivering, right? Not just giving you requirements, but who's going to be using your stuff. Who is it important to? So meet, talk, get to know names, tell your story, and more good stuff will happen. Seeing is believing, obviously, and towards the end of the week, so our guys have done an incredible job. We actually had very difficult challenge initially. I remember the words like, it cannot be done, said in the room. That's a true story, right? And I was like, no, we don't use words like that, right? So we had our ups and downs initially, but then guys did come through, and towards the end of the week, they've done a demo to a bunch of management, and I'd heard it. I was not there anymore, but I've heard it went very well. It was important to see, not just to hear, send a status report, but for them to actually see. This was the index, and we came to optimize, and we were able to parse it. Here's an algorithm for the index, and here's our estimate for the next steps. So people actually have something on the screen, whether it is a prototype, whether it is design, or even if it's analysis, but something with charts and visual for people to see. Seeing is believing. Last but not least, happy hour. Again, it's not just building code, but it's actually connecting with people and leaving a great experience for them. So inviting people for lunch, going for a happy hour, like we took the senior vendor management out for. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can go or for lunch, or you can for the dinner after the work.
Drinks, breakfast, we've done all of those, right? We've opened that wine. So, and so people then remember, again, when it's building relationships, you're hearing stories, they connect to you better, they remember you better, and then they have more confidence in your ability to deliver. You understand better what they want, and the whole thing just works better. So with that, I'm going to turn to Yegor, who was fantastic. Thank you for Indeed.
Thank you also for my turn. All right, so Alex told that it's more from the business side. I will try to share some things from the technical side and also my impression and experience regarding the on-site visits. The first thing that I would like to share with you that even if you have an on-site for a new client, or you even have been working for this client for 2 years or more, you should remember, you must even remember that you are not a tourist. That means that, as Alex said, you should have a plan, you should do some calls, book some time for your team on site, and once you get to the office of your client, you will not have time to do that. So you should be prepared for your visit. Next thing, indeed, experience is very valuable for me, because it's not a typical client on-site visit, because we have only a week, and this week I can compare with the 30-minute kickoff calls that we have with our new clients, but we have this 30 minutes kickoff call for a week. So we should do our best each day to show in the end on Friday the results of our job. So that's why you should be concentrated on the goal and do your best. I think it's not the final. Okay. No matter.
Find your champion in here,
Yeah,
guys.
so yeah,
It's very fitting. Somewhere down there.
Picture of a champion guy. So, what is a champion? As Alex said, so sometimes when you start a team for a client, somebody wants you to be the part of the customer's team, and this person is a champion. And if you found this champion and you know them and you build good a relationship with this guy, or maybe a team or more, then you can continue build your team, hire more members to the team, or maybe get new projects, and this will help you in future. And for Indeed, we found such person. We had a short conversation with him, and after this conversation, we finally understood what they want, because the structure of Indeed is very huge. They have different departments, and they know what each department wants to do, but they do not know how this will match together, and that's why we need to know. And goal number 3 is very simple. You should use your on-site visit as an opportunity to meet more people, talk to them. Do not hesitate to present your ideas. So call him in different on lunch or etc. Because in the future you will work with them. You will see people in Slack and Jira tickets, and this will help you to work. Here we should have a picture of a demo, but it's not. And as a result, so if you have this short-term period to work, as a result, you should try to show to the customer what you have done so far. And as far as from our story from Indeed, on Friday we met again with the same audience that we had on Monday, and we present our new plan, how we are going to deliver all that they want. We got a feedback, we approved our approach, and right now we continue working on it, and everything is fine, and everybody understand what we are going to do. So that's pretty much it regarding the technical details and my experience from this Indeed on-site trip.
And as I did promise you guys the happy ending, so we did deliver. I mean, the team's done a fantastic job. We got excellent feedback from, and what was awesome about it, it wasn't just the people that directly worked with us, but it was a whole bunch of other people that we caught up in hallways, right? We stopped people who showed up at these demos. So like people were bringing people, we don't even know who they are, but all of them had very, very favorable impression of AgileEngine. We got the go-ahead to continue with the project, with the data, basically indexing. We're improving performance of Indeed, guys, so it's a big deal. It's not a simple thing that these guys are doing. But we also got 2 more projects. We're going to be building their job seeker app. Should you ever want to invite other people to apply for a job, and you may download the Indeed app, that's going to be what we'll be building. So our team is starting on that shortly, and it's a direct result of us delivering quality experience. It's not even, frankly speaking, we're only starting on the data side, right? We just did a demo, we just delivered the first couple of indexes, but because of that on-site visit, because our guys looked great, right, talked great, hopefully they will continue delivering, and it's all going to be good. But you know, that impression made everything, and so we got 2 more projects. So that's the end. Any questions? Anything? Go ahead.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. Pleasure. Yeah. So yes, if you're working with customers and you have a chance to visit, go visit, because it's fun and educational, and it makes you.
We are not working.
What if you're not? For those of you that don't have the privilege, well, I mean, that's why some of these, like the introduction guys, right? You do, for instance,